And what I would like for us to do as we begin is to take a deep breath in and exhale love. And take a look at who you're with, who you've come with, who's sitting next to you, who's across from you, who you'll be able to share with later, your feelings of what transpires, or deepen conversations and dialogues of what you feel moved and lifted by, or what's heavy on your heart.
Let's all breathe together. We got some good air up in here. Good energy that's flowing around. So let's take advantage of it. Let's smell it. Let's taste it. Let's touch it. Let's put all our senses forth. Breathe in. Release it to Let's breathe in again. Release it to Let's breathe in one more time. Release it to
on your seats, you had a question. Not too quickly, but not in any specific form. I want us to just popcorn your answer to the question in a word or a very short phrase.
8. During this time when people in the U.S. report going to a place of worship less often than in decades past, what is replacing that practice? Yoga, meditation, and mindfulness.
For I think a lot of people, it isn't being replaced by anything in particular, and that's sad.
Small groups of people gathering together, that like-mindedness, where friends are saying, oh, come on over.
Worry.
What does your spiritual practice tell you about death and afterlife? I've learned it's self-liberating, it's freedom. Yes, we die, but our energy is longer.
Faith tells me that there is something in afterlife. There is something after death. But I also don't want to rest on that here and now.
We're born of woman, and we return to our earth mother or our grandmother. But in our afterlife, we continue on that circle of life with our ancestors, and they continue to never stops. And that's where the spirit goes. So
what does your spiritual practice look like? A walk on the beach, or meditation, or just being joyful with my friends.
Like beauty beyond imagination.
The basis for it is really to be a beneficial presence of our lives.
How does science inform your spirituality? I guess science can both completely show you the foundation of what I believed, but also brought me to a questioning and exploration of more scientific methods. What are the hypotheses of how all of these ideas from different religions, places, people, cultures, and what does it say about a version of truth, or what truth is as a whole?
What's the difference between religion and spirituality? Spirituality is the boundless and the endless and the eternal and the universal, and religion is the way of making sense of it.
The word in Arabic, deen, or iman, means your state of being and your way of life. And I don't know how to categorize that within religion and spirituality.
What does morality and religion have to do with each other?
I would say that what do morality and religion have to do with each other is, while religion can be human attempts to understand or to group morality is something that can flow and transcend any maybe ego-based or control-based ways of.
That religion for me is love, and that affects my morality by something that all religions share in common, and that is that we want to treat each other the way we want to be treated.
I believe in belief, and whatever you believe in with passion, it becomes true to your life. And often people use it as a moral compass and think of it as a tool for being kind to one another, to learning from one another, to being building a better community. And then some people use it as a tool for hurting people and harming people. And I think in that way, morality can get lost in religion.
It's kind of the doing in spirituality, and the religion is kind of the belief and the ideas, I believe. So,
what is the thread common to all spiritual practices or beliefs? Not all religions have a God, but like all religions have something or someone that they believe in that tells them to do something that is the right thing or that they believe is the right thing to do.
What was my relationship with spirituality growing up? Conflicted, distorted, judgmental.
Who or what is God? God is a non-sexed being that we have no ability to understand.
Let's breathe again together.
A spiritual practice and foundation. Foundation meaning their own foundation in spiritual practice. And I would love for them to share with us and introduce themselves and share with us some of their reflections on what they've heard from everyone, and also a bit about, certainly introduce yourselves and who you are and of what faith or spiritual practice you ascribe, and you can all share.
My name is Belafonte, and I'm so humbled and honored to be with every single one of you. I am a member of American Indian movement. Growing up and seeing the civil rights, black and white on TV, moved me beyond because my brother taught me the truth. I'm learning what they taught me at the public schools every day. And so American Indian movement was responsible for giving us indigenous people our rights to pray, and our ceremonial items came out. So I sit here as an indigenous person in 2 continents, Turtle Island, the place of Sinaloa, Mexico, and the place of Peru, Cayeta, Peru. Both my mother and father are ocean people. So where do I live? I live 8 blocks from the beach in Venice and holding on to my 1-bedroom apartment. My religious life was short. At 9 years old, I went out the church on the side door and I sat by the fire that was Robert Kennedy, Eternal Flame. And I sat in the garden and I felt closer to Creator. With religious beliefs, it kind of just dissipated, but I do accept every single person where they're at in their relationship because I find it easier to share. And what I like about spirituality that I share is that when we give songs, those are prayers. The other thing is that quite common we're forgetting that we're star people. We're all made of stars, and then we don't get to see them because of all the city lights. So everybody should always take that time to go to that kind of sacred space.
My name is Reverend Eddie Anderson. I am the senior pastor at McCarty Memorial Christian Church in South Central Los Angeles. I'm also the co-chair of the California Appointments Campaign and a movement leader in Black Lives Matter. The question around religion and spirituality is unique and different to me because coming from the South where we were stolen from Africa, some sold in from Africa, we already had spirituality. We also already had religion. And so religion is just the practice of the way you express your spirituality. So when we talk about God and religion, we're talking about a God who sees and hears the cries of people who are oppressed. And so whenever there is oppression, God always raises up God's people and prophets, which is all of us, because we are all made in God's image, to speak truth to power. Not only speak truth to power, but to be power embodied. So spirituality and religion has been my lifeblood and keeps me sane. Keeps me moving, working for freedom in our world. And so I think God, what is God? Well, it's clear for me, God is spirit. That's it. God ain't nothing. That's not what it is. Though, white bearded dude that they painted and just sits in chapel. That's not God, right? God is a spirit. We talk about the afterlife. We call heaven, and some people talk about heaven as if it's a place over there, and that's good. But heaven is always just being in total communion with God eternally. Hell is always just separation from God. And if God is love, as the scripture says, then anytime you feel separated from love, you are in a hellish experience. And anytime you feel yourself wrapped in love, then you are in heaven.
My name is Sharon Grass. I'm a rabbi here in LA. The function of religion is to help all of us understand that we are children of the Holy One, and therefore every one of us holds innate dignity and worth as a human being. Then the practice of morality is building a society that actually reflects that value, not only for each of us as individuals, but for all of us as a collective. And the question is not how do I find personal spiritual connectedness, but how does my personal spiritual connectedness help me ally with and partner with others who are also looking to create a society that actually reflects those core values that we share. Because of our own sacred narratives, the stories that are whispered to us by our ancestors over the course of generations, these very different stories are driven to the same heart, to the belief that every human being is created with some core fundamental holiness and deserves to live in that holiness made manifest in society that can actually lift all of us up.
I want to take a moment, just as I've been sitting for a while, to have us all stand up and close our eyes, and I just want you to think about why you're here right now and what brought you here. So can I just do that for a minute? What I mainly noticed, going back to what Gina had asked about connections that I made, was that I recognized a lot of people were thinking about, for them, belief is trusting in a power or something that is greater than themselves. And I think that that's something that we all crave and connect to, that we always know that we'll let ourselves down, that people will let us down. How do we grapple with that in this world, right? What is our reason for being? And I think for me, what it makes me think of is we all want to believe there's something that is so much greater than ourselves that gives us that power and strength to continue forward. And even just thinking about that power outside of ourselves, we feel that in so many moments. In our moments where we are heaving sobs and crying and wondering if anyone will ever hear us. And we feel that there's something, right? There's something. When we're looking out at the ocean and admiring its beauty. And I had talked about this with Lydia, when we look out at the ocean, that feeling, you feel something bigger than yourself. What is that? And I think the whole purpose of religion and worship is to try to connect to that, understand it, and then understand our relationship to that.
One of the things I want for us to think about and consider, for those of us who have been listening and really taking in what we've heard today, and this is a question for me, and maybe it's been answered, and I just want to bring it up again for those who may not have had the question for themselves. And that is, are all of our gods the same? We might have different practices and roads and ways in which to get or be. But when we think of spirituality, creator, God, is it really all the same?
When I think of religion, I keep hearing this word in here, love. Martin Luther King, not shortly before he unfortunately was assassinated, said that Jesus Christ taught us, and he was really referring to religion, that we must always love. Like and love are two different things, but we must always be about love. We may not always understand each other's social teachings, or they may not all gel with us, right? But we're still supposed to be of love.